What is going on, guys? It is lividfray. Hope you're all doing very well today. I hope you guys are having fun with the global events now that they have returned after over a year of a broken schedule. I've had quite a lot of fun this morning with them, and I would like to sit down and explain to you guys what the global events actually are and in what ways you guys can actually benefit from participating in them. I know that there's a lot of newer players that are pretty confused on what the events actually do and how to actually play them properly. So I'm going to explain to you guys what the GEs are and how they will benefit you in your gameplay. So what actually are the global events? Well, essentially they're going to add modifiers to all in-game content. One modifier is always active all the time and cannot be turned off, including in the DLCs and inside the Dark Zone. The basic modifier, however, does not work in PvP, so you don't have to worry about other players using that against you. The other two modifiers can be applied to missions and incursions and increase the rewards and difficulty in those missions. You can identify which missions are possible for the increased modifiers by visiting your map, and these missions look very different than the other missions. They're usually highlighted in like a pink or a purple color. So that's when you know that these ones are dedicated to the global events for that specific GE. Participating in the GEs will reward players with global event credits that are used to buy encrypted caches from the global event vendor inside the terminal. There is a very specific section right next to the optimization station, and that's going to be all dedicated to the global events. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with it. It's been showing offline for over a year now, but now that they're back, you guys get to see what it actually looks like when it's in action. Global events also have a leaderboard pretty similar to the Dark Zone, and at the end of each event, the top players are actually rewarded with caches as well as very unique cosmetics. So when it comes to Assault, what are those modifiers and what do they do? Now, if you would like a really big fancy screen for what the actual modifiers do, there is a location for this inside the global event lobby. If you enter and then hang a left on top of that garage, it shows everything for those modifiers for that month. And for the actual schedule for the global events, they are going to rotate. They happen once a month for a week. The schedule has been posted. I'll go ahead and flash it on the screen right now so you guys can see it. I've also posted it across all my social medias, and I'm sure you can find it inside our Discord server, other Discord servers, the Division Discord server, and I'm sure they're going to post it on their social medias and everything like that. So this is going to be the schedule. Take a screenshot for your own records if you'd like to. But let's go into the modifiers. So for the basic assault modifier, this is one that's active everywhere all the time. And this is going to increase the damage that you do to NPCs that are within close proximity to you. And then this next modifier is one that you can add onto those missions that I was telling you guys about earlier. And this is the crucial assault modifier, and it has all of the behavior for assault, but it now adds enemy damage that is increased at long range. So snipers in this mode are pretty scary. They can one-tap you depending on what build you have on. And when you get to the major assault, it has all the behavior for crucial assault, but it adds a bit of a twist. So agent damage is increased near other agents, meaning when you and other group members are within proximity, your damage is going to be increased. And if your teammates are far apart from you, the enemy damage is going to be increased when agents are separated. So not only are the enemies going to do increased damage at long range, they're going to do even more damage to you guys when you guys are all separated. So it's a good idea if you're doing a major assault to stay within a pretty good proximity of each other. I've found D3 is probably the best for this, as well as Reclaimer, because you guys are going to be in close proximity. You really just need 2 damage dealers, a healer, and a support, and you guys should be able to clear content pretty quickly. As far as tips for actual assault gameplay, I've found that using cover and allow the enemies to just push you to increase your damage done to the target is the most effective. They are LMB that this is based around, so it's going to be pretty easy for them to just push, especially if it's shotgunners. Again, the only ones that you're really going to have trouble with are the snipers. And I will also say that the LMG gunners and the elite agents can be pretty troublesome if you guys don't take care of them as quickly as possible. So try to take out those enemies from further distances as soon as you possibly can, just to avoid any headache later. You can also utilize grenades. The grenades do pretty crazy damage at close range. If you are by yourself, I'm pretty sure a grenade could completely clear out a veteran enemy, but you might have to weaken them a little bit if you're in a group before the grenade can kill them. You do actually have to get grenade kills for a commendation for this assault GE, and we're going to get into the commendations here pretty quickly too. I just want to finish up with these quick tips here. I definitely recommend using higher stamina builds, or at least builds with good survivability. So this includes builds like Striker. I saw somebody using a 10k stamina Striker earlier. I definitely do not blame that person. This is going to help you tank those snipers a little bit more. You'll take probably one extra hit from them. Nomad is also very good because you'll have that chance to instantly proc your second life. If you're solo, you'll get even more of them, and then you'll have increased damage resistance. I would just say to make sure that you completely dedicate this build for PvE. I wouldn't be going out there with like critical hit chance and damage mods on with the house. I would be doing something more along the lines of enemy armor with assault rifles. I think that's going to be more beneficial down the line. So when it comes to the global event credits, how do you actually get them, and what are the best methods for farming them? Open world bosses is always a good bet because you get like 25 credits for every boss, and all of those bosses obviously add up. It's a really quick run that you can do to get those credits just as a quick boost to your morning whenever you hop on. You can also get them from hard or challenging missions, and those will increase depending on the modifiers that you have on the mission itself. So eventually, once you get the hang of it, you'll start to just breeze through them, and you can actually farm and accrue those credits pretty quickly. You can also receive them from legendary missions and incursions. This is by far the most effective method, especially missions such as Amherst or Times Square Legendary. These ones are really quick, as well as Warngate. Warngate's also a really good one. When it comes to the incursions, the quickest one by far is going to be Clear Sky, but it does require a bit of an experienced team. Other methods that you can get these credits are from HVTs. I recommend just doing your HVTs every single day. I would say across all of your characters. This is probably going to ensure that you get on the leaderboard every single time, because those HVTs don't take very long to do and they reward a pretty good amount of credits. I also recommend playing Survival. I myself have not done the GE doing Last Stand, so I don't know for sure if the Last Stand caches are a good option. I'm also not sure if you can get them from Banshee caches or not. If you can get them from Banshee or PvP caches, those are probably the more effective methods, but I want to test them and see. Also for the Dark Zone, not only boss runs, but contaminated events are probably the most effective way inside the Dark Zone to get global event credits. Personally, what my friends and I would do on console back in the day was we would run Times Square Legendary over and over again until a contaminated event came up in the Dark Zone. We were close enough to the Dark Zone to where we would actually get alerted for that, and then we would know after we wrap up that mission that we would just have to fast travel to DZ6 and do all of the contamination events from actually DZ5 all the way up to DZ9. It is possible to do that. You might miss, the first, you might not be able to make it to the ones in DZ8 and 9, depending on how quickly you work as a team, but our team was pretty efficient. We were able to clear the 2 that were in DZ5, the 2 that are in DZ6, actually the 3 that are in DZ6, the one in 7 or 8, whichever one that is, and then the boiler landmark up in 9. And then we would just run Times Square over again. Those contaminated events last for 10 minutes, so you should be able to get at least 2 to 4 of them done, if not more, if you're in a pretty dedicated group for that. And then finally, just doing the hard or the challenging missions with those increased modifiers applied. Like I was mentioning, you can get those racked up pretty quickly once you get the hang of them. So what are the global event assault commendations? There are 2 of them that require sniper rifles. These ones are more of the trickier ones to get. One of them is just getting 30 kills in one mission at longer range, but that one, I managed to get that done. It just took us a while to do Falcon Floss, and then we went back and did some of the other ones. The other one is to get through all of the list of that whole those GE missions using only a marksman rifle. I don't know for sure if you can switch weapons and then shoot with that weapon or not. I did manage to switch weapons at one time because I went into my menu and I pulled the gun out, but it still counted. I just didn't actually fire that weapon, so that could be what it is. Some of the other commendations are to complete missions in that list without going down or dying, which is the harder one. That's for the clown mask. That's going to be pretty troublesome for a lot of people, especially the newer players that have never done this before. Welcome to the club. This is bringing back some some memories for us older players that maybe played on a different console or are just coming back to it again after all this time. There are, of course, simple ones such as buying the superior caches. This one is going to take you a lengthy amount of time though. This one is an arm patch, so you could dedicate some time to this if you want to. Again, just farm those credits using the methods that I mentioned earlier. You should be able to get it no problem. One of the trickier ones is you'll have to go through that list of missions without using healing skills, such as a group heal, a self heal, or a support station. We kind of rotated this as we went through the list, so one person would work on it and then one person would basically work on something else. But I do believe that it applies to everybody. So in this instance, nobody can use support station, self-heal. The group heal, we are believing applies to the recovery link. So if you use the recovery link to heal people or to revive them, you would instantly fail that commendation. You would have to restart it. As long as you do them on like the hard difficulty, it really shouldn't be that big of a problem. Unless on Falcon's Lost, it can be kind of tricky, but if you're using builds with high sustainability, such as again Nomad or Striker, you should be okay. Make sure to also utilize Predatory on your guns. Predatory helps out quite a bit. The other one that might be a little bit of a grind is Pineapple. That's where you have to get grenade kills. I would recommend doing this solo because the NPCs take additional damage when you're solo. There's no group scaling, so they have a lower health pool. You can just roam around the open world. A lot of people do the Warrengate method where they just restart the beginning of Warrengate over and over because there's a lot of NPCs that are grouped up right there. I would personally just roam around the open world. I mean, that's just me. I kind of hate restarting missions over and over and over and over again. But that is one method you could do it, is going to Warrengate Power Plant, throwing the grenade on the grouped up enemies, and then restarting it. It's a pretty effective method. Some tips that I have for completing the commendations for the rewards are using a marksman rifle with reclaimer to get your long shot kills while staying alive. This also helps for the other teammates. When you're using a reclaimer, you get to keep them alive a little bit longer. Obviously, this won't go for the commendation to not use the healing skill because you'll have a support station, but I still think that it's going to be beneficial to, I mean, we have a week to do this, so you can always work on these at different times. I would definitely recommend using builds like Hunter's Faith or Deadeye. Using Hunter's Faith got me the long shot kills pretty quickly. And again, I would also recommend using builds like Defense, Nomad, or Striker for close range kills. I would definitely work as a team to lower NPC health for each other to work on commendations such as the long shot kills. If you're going to be up close and personal, try and get them down to like 1 HP so the sniper can take out and get their kills effectively. I'd recommend using the security link instead of the recovery link if you guys are going to go for the commendation to not use the group heal. Also, utilize flashbangs whenever you possibly can. The flashbang sticky bomb is excellent. My team also experimented quite a bit with the gas seeker mine. It seems to be pretty strong. It targets multiple enemies, and when you're doing the hard and challenging difficulty, the NPCs actually stay stationary. Obviously in legendaries they would run around and move around all crazy afterwards, but in hard and challenging missions they don't really move. They when they're disoriented, they just kind of stick around. And a very important tip that I would give is to just don't do all of the Falcon Lost challenges in one run. I wouldn't even attempt to do that. Don't try and do the marksman rifle and the no healing and the no down or dead in one run. I would just focus on one at a time and alternate between each person for the objectives, but obviously for the one with no healing stations, that's going to have to be done all together. But I do think that everything else should be alternated appropriately, or else it's just going to drive you guys crazy. But that's pretty much it for the global event Assault. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys and hopefully it makes sense. Don't forget to visit our Discord to not only find other people to play with, but there is a resources section in that Discord, and I'm going to be opening specifically global event resources into the resources channels. So you guys will have like an easy access to all of the possible global event resources you could possibly get. If you're having some trouble, there's also support agents in there and other people that are actively helping, other people on all platforms. So whether you are on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, doesn't matter. We have people in there that are actively matchmaking, trying to get their commendations completed for the Assault GE. We're all very, very excited that it's been returned to the game. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.